Welcome to Module 2.5 of AADL Online Training. This module will provide information on the Speech Generating Communication Device, or SGCD, AADL benefit. In this section, we will explore the Alberta Aids to Daily Living General Policy and Procedures. Albertans who meet specific criteria are eligible for AADL benefits. The benefits are designed to help individuals to live as independently as possible and to participate in daily activities within their community. Albertans are eligible for benefits if they have been diagnosed with a long-term disability, chronic illness, or terminal illness. Benefits are not designed for individuals who have a temporary condition affecting their independence. Funding is designed to meet basic needs for medical equipment and supplies. The AADL General Policy and Procedures Manual lays out specific information around roles and eligibility requirements. As an authorizer, it is important that you read and understand these policies. It is the authorizer's role to ensure clients meet AADL eligibility requirements, and authorizers are accountable for the decision they make when authorizing equipment and supplies. Here are some of the resources available on the AADL website. AADL policies, procedures, and forms are posted on the AADL website and available to everyone involved in the process. SGCD authorizers, service centers, and manufacturers or distributors, as well as clients who may be interested in obtaining a communication device. Authorizers can sign up to receive bulletins which provide important information to stakeholders, including changes to the AADL website, recalls, and updates to policies and procedures. Let's take a look at the Speech Generating Communication Device benefit area. The benefit area was first established in 2006. The SGCD benefit area is designed for individuals who have a severe communication impairment and are unable to use speech for their daily communication needs. Communication devices are provided for individuals to use as their primary means of communication on a daily basis and to support them in living as independently as possible. The SGCD Policy and Procedures Manual, or Manual AS, describes client eligibility criteria and covers areas such as how to become an authorizer, the role of SGCD service centers, and approved products provided by AADL vendors. AADL's role includes the development of the policies and procedures found in the Speech Generating Communication Device Manual. AADL also maintains and updates the approved product list on an annual basis. The approved product list is a directory of all items that are funded by AADL. The list includes specific communication devices, access and mounting equipment, as well as the manufacturer and suppliers. The APL also identifies which level of service center can authorize equipment from the various catalog numbers, the frequency and quantity of items provided, and whether the equipment is covered for repairs and recycle. Finally, AADL provides oversight to the program by monitoring outcomes and client satisfaction with the benefits received. AADL requires that everyone involved in the provision of benefits be accountable for their actions. The detailed procedures encourage evidence-based decision-making during assessments, setting of goals, and defining the roles and responsibility of the key personnel involved with individual clients. The procedures have been developed to ensure province-wide consistency in standards of care for assessment and benefit provision. Here is the link to the SGCD Policy Manual AS and the SGCD Approved Product List on the AADL website. In this section, we will explore the Alberta Aids to Daily Living General Policy and Procedures. The SGCD benefit is designated as a secondary benefit. This means that an authorizer for SGCD is not a general AADL authorizer and therefore can only authorize SGCD products. AADL has specific requirements and expectations for this benefit area, similar to other specialty areas such as seeding. Assessments for this benefit area must be completed by designated AADL SGCD authorizers, and the authorizers must be employed by a service center recognized by AADL for this purpose. We will review the 3 levels of service centers later in this module. These are the general expectations for all SGCD service centers. In general, all service centers must have a mandate to provide augmentative and alternative communication, or AAC services. The service center must also provide a range of communication equipment to support the work of their clinicians. The center is expected to actively support the clinical and education needs of their AAC team to ensure that their clinical knowledge is updated. This allows authorizers to meet and maintain qualifications. Service centers are also expected to notify AADL of any staffing changes. Level 1 is the entry point for SGCD service centers. Level 1 centers may typically work with clients who have severe communication impairments within a certain age level, such as school age or preschool, or work with specific populations such as clients who have autism or people who have a brain injury. At the same time, the solutions that can be provided will be simple communication devices. Clients will have no need for specialized access equipment such as switches or mounting. The approved product list for this service center level includes catalog number A400, which are alphabet-based static displays, and catalog number A402, which are static display devices with digitized speech that can accommodate pre-recorded messages. At the completion of the assessment, the clinician submits the Communication Assessment and Action Plan form and other documents to AADL through the Alberta Blue Cross online health portal. No assessment review process is required for Level 1 service centers. Similar to Level 1 service centers, Level 2 service centers may typically work with clients who have severe communication impairments within a certain age level or work with specific populations. The team available to provide AAC service is larger. At least 2 or more speech-language pathologist authorizers must be employed. The team must also include an occupational therapist if there are mounting issues present. In addition to catalog numbers 400 and 402, Level 2 service centers must be familiar with catalog number A406 devices. These are the touchscreen dynamic display devices from manufacturers and suppliers such as Bridges, Tobii Dynavox, and Liberator Communications Canada. You can find a complete listing of devices on the approved product list. In addition to communication devices, standard mounting options are available if needed from catalog number A410. Mounting equipment from specific manufacturers or distributors is covered by AADL. New to this center level is the use of the Assessment Review Panel. This will be covered in more detail in a later slide. Level 3 service centers are unique in that they are able to provide the full service range of SGCD options. They work with clients of varying ages and diagnostic categories. Typically, the clients have complex needs and require custom solutions to support their communication needs. The clinicians in Level 3 service centers are able to develop custom solutions for alternate access, such as one or multiple switch arrays for scanning, alternate mice or head mice, and eye gaze solutions. Mounting solutions are typically custom made. The communication solutions may go beyond standard solutions and require customized vocabulary, organization, and structure. The team is able to work collaboratively to integrate all the necessary parts so that the complete system works effectively. Before considering a client for the SGCD benefit area, it is important to ensure AADL eligibility has been met. The authorizer must then determine if the client meets the specific eligibility requirements for the SGCD benefit itself. If not, authorizers will need to advise clients to pursue other funding options. This slide details the specific criteria for SGCD benefits. In addition, the client is expected to be willing and able to abide by AADL's general policies and procedures. AADL funding for communication devices is based on the client having the ability to use the system independently for communication. This can be confirmed during the assessment phase, where potential clients are able to try out and demonstrate they can use the selected system for effective communication with various partners. It is important that clients are actively involved in the assessment process as part of the team. Clients and family can identify their communication needs and set goals for the use of the SGCD for specific communication purposes. AADL funding is provided for Albertans who are able to use the communication system independently for communication with a variety of partners. Communication systems are not provided for training, educational, or other purposes. Communication systems are provided to clients for as long as they are needed. AADL retains ownership of any equipment provided and supports repairs as needed to the system. Clients and families are expected to return equipment if it is no longer suitable for their current needs, if they no longer need to use a communication system, or if they move out of the province. Returned equipment is made available to other people through the recycle process, which we will describe later in this module. It is important that authorizers are aware of quantity and frequency limits that will impact replacement of a device. The frequency limits are described in the approved product list and will be reviewed later in the module. Clients are responsible for any operating systems needed to run the SGCD. It is the client's responsibility to ensure that any software added will not harm the effective operation of the device. AADL will not pay for repairs that result from issues related to third-party software downloaded by the client. These are the specific requirements that must be met by all speech-language pathologists or occupational therapists who wish to become SGCD authorizers. You must be registered with your professional college for your respective profession, the Alberta College of Speech-Language Pathologists and Audiologists, or the Alberta College of Occupational Therapists, to show that you are licensed to practice in Alberta. Knowledge of the specialty area of augmentative and alternative communication is also expected. This can be acquired by taking a university course in AAC or by completing equivalent educational experiences. All SGCD authorizers must be employed in an AADL recognized service center. Your AADL SGCD authorizer status is tied to your place of work. Your authorizer status will be terminated if you leave the service center. If an authorizer moves, their SGCD authorization is not automatically transferred to their new place of work. Your service center must identify which clinicians are working within their center. Expectations are different for each of the 3 levels of service centers. You must also complete the online training modules and meet specific criteria. SGCD authorizers are expected to have experience working with individuals who have complex communication needs and use alternative forms of communication. All authorizers should also be familiar with the range of products on the SGCD approved product list that are relevant to the population they work with. AADL will monitor authorizer qualifications over time as there are expectations to maintain authorizer status. It is expected that clinicians will be actively working to maintain their level of knowledge and experience in AAC. Clinicians must participate in at least 10 hours of related educational activities each year. Clinicians must also be actively working with at least 8 clients over an 18-month period in order to maintain their level of AAC experience. Clinicians working within service centers levels 2 and 3 are also expected to actively participate in the assessment review process set up within the center. Service centers are also expected to maintain a record of any training undertaken by their authorizers. This may be monitored, and upon audit, AADL may request this record. Important SGCD benefit forms, including authorizer application forms, can be found on the AADL website. As an AADL authorizer, it is important to remember that your role is to explain AADL policies and procedures to the client and family. This means that you are not purely an advocate for the client. You need to be familiar with AADL's policies, roles, and responsibilities so you can explain these to your clients and families before creating an authorization. You are also responsible for ensuring clients meet eligibility criteria required for the various communication devices and systems available. All SGCD equipment is provided by AADL to a client for as long as it is needed by that client. AADL retains ownership of all equipment. All items purchased by AADL are designated as the property of the Government of Alberta and must be returned to the service center if no longer needed or if the client or family moves away from Alberta. As government property, AADL accepts responsibilities for the repairs of equipment as previously described. Cost share is applied to all purchase and repair costs. AADL does not accept responsibility for repairing equipment that has been lost or misused by the client. AADL also does not cover the cost of repairs or upgrades on any equipment that is privately owned by the client or third-party funder. Next, let's discuss the process for assessing a client for a speech-generating communication device. The starting point in any AAC assessment is to gather information about the needs and abilities of the client. Whether you end up with an AAC system based on unaided or aided solutions, no-tech, low-tech, or high-tech solutions. The assessment process provides answers to questions such as what are the physical, cognitive, and language needs of the client. Some agencies, particularly school-based services, may use the SETT or SET model based on information from the student, the environment, the tasks and tools required to complete the tasks. Some agencies may use a participation model or a communication needs model. For example, if the client is mobile, he or she will need a solution that is small and portable. For someone who has excellent literacy skills, the system will likely incorporate a vocabulary system that includes writing or use of core words. There is much published documentation around models of communication and assessment procedures, and it is expected that clinicians are familiar with this process. Whatever assessment model is used, it should lead to a clear definition of the client's capabilities and communication needs. This information leads to a description of the features required in the AAC system. Everyone communicates, and each person's way of communicating may be a unique combination of gestures, movements, facial expressions, and a combination of no-tech, low-tech, and high-tech systems. The key aspect for AADL funding is that the individual must be able to use the communication device effectively for communication purposes. It is important that you as a clinician have access to communication devices to maintain your level of expertise in supporting their use. In addition, service centers are expected to provide equipment that can be used by clients during the assessment process. This is important because it allows them to get a sense of how the device can be used to improve their communication skills and to learn what is expected in terms of providing support and maintenance for the equipment. Equipment trials are a key aspect of the assessment process and must be documented for AADL. It is important that the client and the family make an informed choice about which system meets their needs. You should also know that many SGCD manufacturers and distributors are willing to provide loaner equipment. You will need to contact the representatives for the manufacturer or distributor to find out how to obtain loaner equipment. If you do not have access to equipment from either of these two sources, AADL will provide a conditional purchase option under certain conditions. The Communication Assessment and Action Plan must be completed for all SGCD authorizations. It contains a summary of all the assessment information gathered. A key feature is Section 4, in which the client's communication needs are identified. This allows the clinician to then match device features to those communication needs. Section 5 summarizes the equipment tried by the client during the course of the assessment. This provides an opportunity to gather objective data to demonstrate that the device will be effective for the client to use on a daily basis. Section 6 covers the roles and responsibilities for carrying out intervention and training activities to ensure the communication device can be used effectively. Section 7 covers communication goals, how the communicator will use the device with typical partners with their natural environments, whether at home, in the community, or during recreational activities. Goals can be monitored to gauge outcome measures for the client. An AADL client declaration form needs to be completed and used to support each application for funding from AADL. Section 8 of the Communication Assessment and Action Plan is equivalent to the AADL Client Declaration Form and can be used as a replacement for all SGCD applications to reduce the paperwork required by AADL. Section 8 contains information that should be shared with clients and families, including why personal information is being collected by AADL in accordance with the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act and Health Information Act. It also describes the AADL cost share process. Clients and families must sign the CAAP form to show that they have actively participated in the assessment process and that they recognize their responsibilities to use and maintain the equipment being provided. Every application must be signed by the client or the person who is financially responsible for the client. Please keep a signed copy of this on file so that you can use it for each funding application for SGCD systems, repairs, and parts. The assessment review process may be familiar to some clinicians. It is used in all Level 2 and Level 3 service centers. This is done to standardize the decision-making process across the various centers in the province, as both Level 2 and Level 3 service centers can authorize the same communication devices. This is in keeping with AADL's desire to support fair and equitable provision of SGCD benefits across the province. The review panel consists of the clinical team within a specific service center and is described in detail in Policy AS-06. If community clinicians are involved with the client, they are invited to attend. The role of the panel is twofold: to review all SGCD funding requests to ensure that they are in accordance with AADL benefit criteria, and to provide an opportunity to share clinical knowledge within the team. All AADL authorizations and claims are processed through Alberta Blue Cross. This section will provide you with further information on how to access the Alberta Blue Cross online health portal and procedures for creating authorizations. All AADL SGCD authorizers will need to register with Alberta Blue Cross and obtain access to the Alberta Blue Cross online health portal through their SGCD service center. Contact the provider support line if you have questions about the process. The Alberta Blue Cross online health portal contains a number of forms and documents relating to SGCD and other communication benefit areas. Here is a screenshot of what you'll see on the Alberta Blue Cross website regarding SGCD documentation. Note that you can find these under the Resources tab on the top bar. Funding applications for SGCD systems are submitted to AADL through the Alberta Blue Cross online health portal. Follow the directions to enter patient information and then select the specific items being authorized from the relevant drop-down boxes. Separate authorizations are required for a device, for a mounting system, and for any access equipment. When your authorizations have been completed, Alberta Blue Cross will provide you with a reference number for each authorization. The status with Alberta Blue Cross will show as pending. This means it is being submitted to AADL for approval. All SGCD authorizations are reviewed by AADL to ensure they meet eligibility and policy requirements. You will be notified by Alberta Blue Cross if the authorization has been approved or if additional information is required. You can use the Alberta Blue Cross online health portal to find out what equipment is available in the SGCD recycle inventory. You can also use the portal to search by patient or authorization reference number or look at prior consumption for patient history. As soon as the authorization is approved in the Alberta Blue Cross online health portal, the vendor is provided with a reference number and can process a claim against this authorization. The vendor collects the cost share amount that needs to be paid by the client, if applicable, and then arranges for the equipment to be shipped to the service center. The equipment will not be shipped until the cost share amount has been paid. After the equipment arrives at the service center, it is the authorizer's role to check it and set it up for the client to use. All equipment purchased by AADL must be marked with the Government of Alberta sticker. Equipment is shipped to the service center to ensure that the correct items have been provided and to set up the equipment so that it is ready for use. All equipment purchased by AADL must be marked with the Alberta Government sticker. Follow-up and training requirements are identified as part of the Roles and Responsibilities section of the CAAP form. This should detail who is responsible for programming, maintaining, and supporting the communication system over the next few years. Here again are the details on how to contact the Alberta Blue Cross Provider Support Group. In the next few slides, we will review in more detail the approved products for the SGCD benefit area. The approved product list is reviewed annually. AADL will accept suggestions from authorizers for addition to the product list at any time in accordance with Policy AS-15. Products selected must have been in production in the North American market for a minimum of 1 year and will be covered by a manufacturer's warranty of at least 1 year. Products are selected from manufacturers or distributors that meet the AADL qualifications described in Policy AS-13. Devices are selected for clients based on specific features available in the various communication devices. Speech-language pathologists and occupational therapists should be familiar with the devices, the mounting options, and the access equipment on the SGCD approved product lists so that their clients are consistently presented with appropriate choices and guidance in the selection of the most suitable SGCD system. Please ensure that you are familiar with the communication device categories, as well as the categories of mounting and access equipment relevant for your service center. Catalog number A402 devices typically have simple programming options. Included in this catalog number are the software programs developed for specific devices to create overlaps. They can be authorized by clinicians at all service center levels. They are not repaired or recycled. Devices in catalog number A400 can be authorized by clinicians in all service center levels. They are the keyboard-based communication devices. AADL provides funding for repairs and recycles these devices. Please carefully review the guidelines for selecting SGCDs, which describes the communication skills expected for the various types of communication devices provided. Catalog number A406 are dynamic display devices. These can only be authorized by clinicians in Level 2 and 3 service centers. AADL provides funding for repairs and recycles these devices. Catalog number A407 are iPad-based communication systems. These can only be authorized by clinicians in Level 2 and 3 service centers. They are provided as a complete package to contain one communication app, a protective case, and amplified speakers. Apple Care Plus is provided for 2 years. iPads are not recycled by AADL and will remain the property of the client for the life of the device. Catalog number A408 are iPad equivalent communication systems. These can only be authorized by clinicians in Level 2 and 3 service centers. They are provided as a complete package to contain one communication app, a protective case, and amplified speakers and manufacturer support. Refer to the SGCD product list for current systems in this A408 category. Catalog number A410 is mounting hardware. Please refer to the approved product list for the specific manufacturers and distributors authorized by AADL to provide mounting hardware. This equipment can be authorized by Level 2 and Level 3 service centers. One mounting system is provided for each client as assessed by the team's occupational therapist. The mounting system is to be used for the primary position of the client. A separate mounting system can also be provided for switches and other access equipment that is used by the client to operate the communication device. There is no detailed product list for mounting parts. It is expected that the occupational therapist is knowledgeable about the parts required to assemble a standard or custom mounting system for a client. Mounting systems and system parts are recycled by AADL. If a client needs alternate access options such as switches, adapted mice, or joystick, catalog number A421 should be used. Alternate access options can only be assessed by Level 3 service centers. Switches may range from a single switch or a switch array. Clients are provided with one access method to operate their communication device. Switches may be replaced on an annual basis and are typically not covered by AADL for repairs. Complex access options are also covered if needed through catalog number A422. This covers hands-free mouse options which are built into a device or freestanding options. Please note that an access system may contain one item from catalog number A422, complex access equipment, plus a switch from catalog number A421 when the switch is needed to be used in combination with the complex access system. One complex access system can be provided over a 5-year period. These items are covered by AADL for repairs and are recycled. This is a list of current manufacturers and distributors on the SGCD approved product list. When reviewing an application from a manufacturer or distributor, preference is given to those with a Canadian distributor, a provincial representative, and established technical support and repair options. SGCD manufacturers and distributors are expected to provide loaner devices for assessment purposes and can provide education around the operation, care, and use of their equipment. The list of SGCD manufacturers and distributors will be updated annually as changes occur. Upon receipt of the SGCD, it is our expectation that the device will be used for that purpose. It is highly recommended that families acquire private insurance to cover loss or damage due to misuse. This can be done as part of the family's homeowner insurance, and a named rider can be added based on the value of the SGCD as identified on the manufacturer or distributor's quotation. In this section, we will discuss the quantity and frequency review process. Quantity and frequency limits are placed on all SGCD products. The frequency with which items will be replaced are identified in the approved product list. We will review frequency requirements in the next few slides. AADL will replace a communication device outside of the frequency limits only under certain circumstances. This is based on an assessment to document a change in the client's communication needs, perhaps based on a change in the client's physical condition or the client's changing language or communication needs. This rationale is required before a replacement can be considered by AADL. Early replacement requires a quantity and frequency review request submission. It is important for authorizers to understand that they have a specific role in any decision to recommend a change of equipment. Quantity decisions must be based on a clinical assessment to document the client's change in needs. AADL does not support replacements without this documentation. Quantity change decisions cannot be to provide the latest equipment for the convenience of the client. For this reason, it is important that clinicians explain to their clients how replacement decisions are made by AADL. The quantity and frequency process is described in detail in Policy GN-31 of the AADL General Policy and Procedures Manual. This describes what you must do if you feel that your client needs equipment that is over the designated quantity. Here are the quantity limits for the communication device categories. For catalog number A400, alphabet-based design, replacement is limited to one every 5 years. AADL covers repairs on the catalog number, and these devices are recycled. For catalog number A402, simple static display devices, replacement is limited to one every 5 years. AADL does not cover repairs beyond the standard manufacturer's warranty. These devices are not eligible for recycle. For catalog number A400 and A406, replacement is also limited to one every 5 years. AADL covers repairs on these devices and they are eligible for recycle. It is important to note that if a communication device is 5 years old or more and continues to work well and meets the client's communication needs, it is not automatically eligible for a replacement. iPad and iPad equivalent systems are provided under different conditions. The frequency is one every 4 years. iPads are not recycled by AADL and remain the property of the client as long as it is needed. For catalog number A410, mounting hardware, a client is eligible for one mounting system only. This can cover mounting for the device itself and a separate mounting system for access equipment if needed. Standard mounting hardware can be authorized by Level 2 service centers, which have designated occupational therapists assigned for this purpose. Complex and complex mounting systems can be authorized by occupational therapists in Level 3 service centers. All access equipment is restricted to Level 3 service centers. There are two categories of access equipment with different frequency requirements. For simple access equipment, 2 switches can be replaced per year or one adapted mouse or joystick. Switches are not routinely repaired. For complex access equipment, catalog number A422, AADL covers repairs and maintenance, and the frequency limit is one every 5 years. AADL provides clients and families with information on how to arrange for repairs. AADL covers all repairs that are a result of normal wear and tear after the manufacturer's warranty has expired. Repairs are also provided for mounting equipment in the A410 category and for complex access equipment in the A422 category. Repairs on simple static display devices, A402, are restricted to coverage provided through the manufacturer's warranty. AADL encourages the use of recycled devices and maintains an inventory of recycled devices available for clients to use in the Alberta Blue Cross Recycle inventory. When equipment is no longer needed by a client, AADL supports the refurbishment of the device so that it is available for the next client to use. It is expected that clinicians check the recycle inventory before requesting a new device for a client. The recycle inventory is maintained by AADL as part of its equipment database. This information is available to all service centers. Mounting and access equipment are included in the recycle process. However, they are not formally identified in the recycle inventory. Service centers are expected to have a variety of communication devices available for clients to use during assessment. Manufacturers and distributors also provide loaner equipment for short time periods that can be used during an assessment. In the event that equipment is not available from either of these sources, AADL will authorize a conditional purchase under specific circumstances. The manufacturer or distributor will provide a brand new device for the client to use, and the confirmation of the purchase must be made within 10 weeks of the shipping date. The client or family must pay their cost share portion based on the purchase price before the device is shipped. It is important for families to understand that if the system is not successful, the equipment must be returned to the manufacturers. Families must agree to these terms and return all equipment in the same condition in which it was received. If any equipment is damaged or missing, this will be charged to the client or their family. The SGCD process flow document is included in the policy manual to assist you in making key decisions around the provision of SGCD benefits. Please review this flowchart carefully and use it to support both your clients and your fellow clinicians as you work through the assessment review process. Here is a list of the key forms and documents needed by authorizers. They are available on the Blue Cross website and also on the AADL website. Please contact AADL if you have questions about the module content. Thank you for completing this training module. We hope you have found it to be informative and helpful in your practice.